Hi, everybody. This is Joe from Ecommerce Platforms, and today we're going to be talking about which of the most popular e-commerce platforms are the best for your store. So we're going to pit Shopify versus WooCommerce, two of the most popular options that you can choose from, and kind of go through the features and figure out which one is best for you. So if we jump to the Shopify page here, we'll be able to see a little bit about what that platform is all about. But to put it simply, these are two of the most easily accessible and easy to use e-commerce platforms available on the market. Each one has multiple strengths and can possibly be the perfect solution for you to build an e-commerce store. And the best news is that you can do most of this on your own. They are quite different, but the results can usually be pretty similar. It just depends on what you're trying to sell, what kind of control you're trying to have with your online store, and how much experience you have running an online store as well. We're also going to look at things like pricing, feature sets. So, which one is cheaper? If we went to Shopify, they have their pricing all laid out in nice monthly packages, but WooCommerce is a whole different story. So which is better looking? Which is easier to design, more flexible, which is easier to work with? These are all the questions we're going to answer in this video. So let's get started with our comparison. First off, I want to start with design. That's usually what people are asking about first. How do these themes look visually? Do you even get themes? So with Shopify, one of the greatest selling points is the visual quality of its themes. In my opinion, they look absolutely great out of the box. Shopify comes with dozens of different store templates. I think they have 10 free ones on there. They have a little over 50 different store templates. Some of them are paid. What's more is that all the themes have unique variations. So you technically get over 100 separate designs. And if you scroll through here, you'll realize that you can search through collections, so like fun and lively or minimalist. There's also industries. So if you wanted to sell sports and recreation gear, we can click on that and scroll through and figure out exactly, what type of items you have. And they have some free themes as well as some editorial, and some paid themes. This one is called editorial, which would be $160. And what's cool is that the free ones are really nice, but the paid ones are even better. So if we kind of previewed this one, you get an idea of just how modern and sleek some of these options look. All of the themes are going to be responsive. There's different versions as well, so, for completely different industries, but it's all the same theme. So this is pretty cool. Like I said, the aesthetic is there. And the Shopify designs aren't actually created in-house. They're outsourced to a group of professional web designers who ensure that they're as current and as engaging as these themes can be. And we kind of like this approach because you get creativity from a wide variety of companies and people, making for a better selection. But like I said, there are free and paid options. We can jump back here just to give you an idea of what else you would get. And what's interesting is you can click on all of these and kind of scroll through and see the different features. So this one says built for large catalogs. This one says multi-column menu, full width Instagram feed. There's plenty of features, and they're all going to be different depending on the theme you go for. Also cool is that Shopify does offer a visual designer, and it's called Shopify sections. So how that would work is you would drag your sections or rows up and down. So you might drag this nice visual image, the image banner at the top. Looks like it's a parallax effect. You could drag that down and quickly move it down and move something else up. It's not really a true drag and drop editor. You can't really click in there and move around the text however you want. However, whenever you click on one of those elements, you can edit pretty much anything inside those modules. So that's pretty cool. It's about as close to a front-end drag and drop editor as you can get, but it's not quite there. Now, if you're wondering how WooCommerce does design, it's a whole different story. And like some people say, the world really is your oyster in terms of finding themes for WooCommerce. It's a huge free global app or plugin for WooCommerce for WordPress. And basically, what happens is all of these developers, since it is an open source plugin and platform working with both WooCommerce and WordPress, there's all sorts of companies and developers that are creating WooCommerce themes. And it's great because you get all the elements you would want from an online store, like a shopping cart, a checkout that's actually on your website, and some galleries to showcase some of your best products. So there are several places to get themes for WooCommerce. One of them is from WooCommerce itself. The company is actually called Woo Themes. And so you can go and get the storefront framework, which is what a lot of people create their stores off of. It kind of sets the basis for your store. And then you can also, there are some other options. Let's see what we got here. Digital and audio. So like there's an arcade solution. But yeah, so some of these you have to pay for, some of them are free. And then of course, there are all sorts of free themes if you just go to the WordPress theme library. In theory, what I like to do is just search for WooCommerce themes, and then you get all sorts of options. Theme Forest is always a great bet if you're looking for a marketplace that has themes from various different developers, and it will tell you, if there are ratings or how many sales all of these developers have. A good filter would be something like the best sellers or the best rated, because you look at this is a multi-purpose WooCommerce theme that can basically be turned into any type of website you want. And that has over 73,000 sales, great ratings. So getting your theme, really, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because there's so many options, but they are affordable and there are so many developers. So you actually get more of a quantity as opposed to Shopify. But if you are looking for simplicity and still some really good themes, Shopify is probably your best bet. If you don't want to be researching all over the internet, looking through all of these reviews and trying to figure out which one works for you. But to be honest, WooCommerce does have a serious advantage over Shopify when it comes to design. I mean, we have thousands and thousands of designs on here. And, I could click on this one just to take a look and look at a live preview. You could look at some screenshots. All of these are opening up in different tabs. But we could even check out things like the reviews. This has an item rating, comments. You could see what other people are saying about these. So in terms of research, and just having a huge number of options to get started with your design, WooCommerce wins. But it's a different story, I would say, in terms of price. I mean, WooCommerce isn't as straightforward in its pricing. That's not to say that it's inexpensive or expensive. It really depends on the type of store you have. But let's once again start with the Shopify store and see exactly the type of pricing that we have here. And we kind of had the pricing up before. But to put this bluntly, Shopify pricing is very clear and straightforward. WooCommerce isn't. On the other hand, WooCommerce is a free open source plugin. So yes, the plugin is free, but then you have to consider all the additional costs that go along with making an online store. All right, so with Shopify, it's all about delivering you a single out-of-the-box solution with just a few pricing packages. So chances are you're going to be spending $29 a month. That's fine. You might need to upgrade to $79 a month or $299, depending on how many features you would like. For example, the $79 a month, you get gift cards and professional reports. That could be huge for your business. So it depends on how much you want to expand and how much you want to pay. Also, as you move up, the credit card rates decrease. So if you're on the basic Shopify plan, you would pay 2.9% plus 30 cents for an online transaction, but then you would pay 2.4% plus 30% if you were in the advanced Shopify plan. There is another option. It's called Shopify Lite down here. That is only $9 a month. And that's good if you already have a website, like on WordPress or some other content management system. And that would allow you to get some buy buttons and some functionality from Shopify with your current website. I wouldn't recommend it if you are just getting started with an online store, because this Shopify Lite plan actually lacks the full checkout and shopping cart that you would want on your own website. You'd have to go with the basic Shopify to get that. Other than that, you might end up paying for a theme. Like we showed you before, there are themes that cost $180. The good thing is that that's a one-time cost. You also might end up paying for some sort of app that you include with your store. So usually you can find enough apps that are completely free, but let's see if we can find one that might cost a little money. So I know Oberlo is actually a free app to start off, but after that, they actually, depending on how many products you would like to drop ship, this is a drop shipping app, by the way, you could end up paying around $20 to $30 a month for it. So once again, it depends on what you're doing with your store, but you should keep that in mind. But overall, the main costs that you're going to be having are going to be these particular pricing plans. And what's cool is the $29 a month, that includes hosting, domain, everything. Everything's on one dashboard, so it's not very complicated. Now, on the other hand, we have WooCommerce. And like I stated, this is a open source plugin that you can download for free. So if we scroll through here, you can actually just click on the Get Started button, and it will bring you, to the WooCommerce page where you can download and install WooCommerce on your WordPress account. And that's all great. The actual plugin is free. However, there are some different expenses that you're going to have to consider. One of them would be hosting, which you have to go out and get yourself. So whether it's something like Bluehost or GoDaddy or Flywheel, there are all sorts of different types of hosting options, whether it be shared. But if you have a bigger site with lots of traffic, then you're probably going to have to upgrade to some sort of more advanced hosting. Some people do their own dedicated servers because they have so much traffic and they want to make their sites as fast as possible. That said, the cheapest hosting can cost $3 per month. That's going to be shared hosting, which usually isn't going to be the greatest for a legitimate business. But I like to say that hosting can cost anywhere from $500 to $100 a month. And it's all via a third party, so it's not included with WooCommerce. So you kind of have to factor that in. If it's a small business, maybe you only have to pay $5 to $10 a month. But once you really start expanding, you have to think about $50 to $100 to even $300 a month for your hosting. In addition to that, you might have to go out and get an SSL certificate. Now, for this, I would say, in fact, it's almost a guarantee that you have to get an SSL certificate if you plan on following the law and if you plan on making your customers comfortable. For SSL certificates, this basically secures all of the transactions that go through your website. So what I recommend for that is that you turn to your hosting provider and check with them to see if they provide an SSL certificate for free. Many of them are doing this already. So, once again, it's not included with WooCommerce. So you kind of have to talk to your hosting provider, or you have to figure out a way to buy it yourself. There are third-party providers. It could cost anywhere from $100 onward. So it really depends. And then there's also a domain name. Now, this isn't really an expensive part of running a website, but a domain name could cost you anywhere from like $9 to maybe $20 a year. If you're spending any more than that, then you should probably pick a new domain name. That's really the main recommendation I would give here, because there's just no reason. If someone's trying to sell you a domain name for $5,000, just think of another domain name. There's so many out there. Pick a different variation. But yeah, so those are the primary elements. You also might have to buy a WooCommerce theme. Like we saw, those could cost anywhere from $50 to say $100. Some of them are more expensive, and you can also find some for free. So like I said, it depends. The main cost is going to be hosting. I usually recommend spending around $10 to $30 for hosting, especially when getting started. So it actually can get more expensive for WooCommerce compared to Shopify, even though you might be getting a free plugin with WooCommerce, and you're working with WordPress, which is also free. So to sum things up on pricing, Shopify e-commerce runs on a top level domain for $29 a month. You might have some extra fees, but WooCommerce, that's probably going to be around the same price for a hosting domain and an SSL. The only difference is that you have to piece all that together. So if you're on the WooCommerce page here, they're not going to provide you with any of that. So I would say that Shopify wins in the pricing category because it's far less confusing. It's easier for everyone, even if you're an advanced user. Now, the next area we want to focus on would be features. So obviously, when we're getting into an e-commerce platform like that, pricing is obviously very important, but their feature sets are going to really matter. So unlike a platform like BigCommerce, Shopify and WooCommerce are more basic with the e-commerce essentials built into the main software. And how it works is kind of like an iPhone, both Shopify and WooCommerce, where you have the base features, but then you're also getting a bunch of apps or plugins that you can use to expand the current infrastructure of your store. So for Shopify, it helps you sell in a few different ways. First of all, you have unlimited products. This is your dashboard right here. You can click around. It's a great way to kind of, see your total sales breakdowns. I don't have anything up here right now, but it also kind of guides you through. So this also ties into the ease of use. It tells you need to add your domain. Would you like to search for photos to add to your blog or your online store? You can also look at all sorts of articles and SEO information. So it kind of guides you through how to set up your store and keep it running smoothly. We also have things like products, orders, customers. This is a similar layout as WooCommerce, so it's not much different. They're both pretty easy to move around in. But if we were to go to products, this displays all of the products I currently have in here. I've already uploaded these, but if you wanted to add a new product, you click on that Add Product button, type in a title, a description, and maybe add some images. Then, of course, there's all sorts of other information like pricing, inventory, and all that good stuff. Some other things to keep in mind for Shopify is you get automatic fraud analysis. You can embed an Oberlo integration, which really allows you to start drop shipping. And drop shipping basically means that you don't have to store, ship, or package any of your products. So the Oberlo integration is pretty key for some businesses. There's also some other great things like the discount codes. So if we went here, we could create a discount code based on a percentage or maybe a fixed amount or free shipping or something like that. You also get a free SSL certificate, so that keeps your costs low, and quite a few other features which are great, for really just launching your online store and keeping it running well into the future. Some other things I really enjoy: the daily backups to make sure you don't lose anything. You can sell both physical and digital products. And there's also a Facebook selling module and several other sales channels over here. So if I wanted to set up a Facebook store, that would allow me to push certain collections into that Facebook store. Finally, we talked about the App Store. If we click on this app key right here, there are plenty of apps that you might want to install. It's probably best to keep it to a minimum, but if you figure out like, oh, this feature isn't provided in the regular Shopify feature list, then you might go to visit the Shopify App Store, or you can take a look at some of them here. I already have some installed. So I have product reviews, I have a loyalty program, email marketing automation, all sorts of good stuff that might not be automatically included with your Shopify store. And so Shopify is kind of on the same level as WooCommerce in that respect, because WooCommerce also has plugins. And so, that was kind of just touching the surface in terms of the features provided in Shopify. But let's go ahead and take a look at what WooCommerce has as well. All right, so we're in a WordPress dashboard. This is just a sandbox, and I'm going to show you really quick just how easy it is to install. So at this point, all you would have been paying for is hosting, but I would search for plugins and type in WooCommerce, and that would bring up, there it is, and you click Install Now. And as you can see, it's kind of the same layout as Shopify. All of your buttons are going to be on the left here. We also have to click Activate. But once that is all done, it'll walk you through a store setup. And this is a little different from Shopify. Like, it kind of has the store setup in Shopify in the dashboard. But this is good. It walks you through the store setup, your payment, shipping, recommended. So it's a really easy process to walk through. And I'm not going to walk you through all of this in this video, but it will kind of, you can see all the steps right here that are really easy to kind of understand. But as you might notice here, we'll walk through all of the features that WooCommerce has for you, but you can sell both physical and digital products. And I'm going to hit the Not Right Now button because I don't want to walk through all of that and bore everyone. But in terms of the interface and the ease of use, I personally think it's a little less intuitive than Shopify, but it's really not that bad. Basically, all you have to do is go to WooCommerce over here, and it shows your orders, coupons, reports, all that good stuff. And then if you want your products, then you would go here and click on Add New. And then that would allow you to type in a product name, a description, figure out whether it's a grouped product or a variable product, or if it's downloadable or virtual. There are so many features packed in here. And in terms of orders and coupons, those are just lists basically. But WordPress, you're going to have to design your theme in a completely different area called Appearance. So it is slightly different from Shopify. But other than that, you can set up your payments via PayPal and Stripe. Shopify is quite similar. It actually has some pretty good, actually it's 0% if you partner with Shopify and use Stripe. So you might be able to keep costs lower with Shopify. But WooCommerce has PayPal and Stripe built in. Plus, you can integrate a whole range of other options. Most of that is going to be in the settings area. So we have shipping and payments. You can set up your automated emails. Other than that, WooCommerce does have adjustable shipping rates and taxes. It allows for an unlimited number of products and product categories. It has stock level controls. It's mobile friendly, and there are literally hundreds of plugins available for you. So if you wanted to add a new plugin, all you would have to do is go to the plugins area. Once again, very similar to how Shopify works with its apps. And let's say I wanted to type in images. Well, that's not a very good. Oh, this is search. So I would have to go to Add New. And they kind of recommend some of the popular ones. So if you wanted to have a forum inside of your online store, you can add that with BBPress. Or you might want to clear out the spam and all of your comments in the blog or whatever. So that's an option as well. Once again, you try to keep your plugins to a minimum just to speed up your site as much as you can. But overall, it's pretty easy and intuitive, and you can expand your store as much as you want. Okay, now customer support is also a big consideration when you're trying to create your new online store. You obviously want to be able to call someone or email someone or at least be able to read some articles while you're running your store. There's also the issue of, whether or not you have someone on your own team who can run the store for you. But in terms of Shopify, basically they have some of the best customer support in the world. If you go to the resources page, they have guides. They have something called Shopify Academy, which is an amazing set of articles that kind of walks you through everything you need to know to get your first sale, to market your course, or to market your Shopify store. There are plenty of articles on here that are great for trying to figure out exactly what you need to do. Other than that, they have a help center here. So you could go there and type in something. And also the Shopify customer support reps are available 24/7 all year round. And that's kind of what you're paying for. That's part of the package that you pay for when you're working with Shopify. However, WooCommerce is completely different. Since it is an open source product, most customers don't get any customer support. However, there is a huge collection of developers. There's a huge community of people, users and developers, who are working with WooCommerce. So there are blogs, there are articles, there are plenty of documentation websites that allow you to basically figure out, how to work with WooCommerce yourself. You can also take an online course as well. But WooCommerce does have a support tab here, so you can look at their documentation. You can also contact them. Mainly, if you want to contact WooCommerce, they do charge extra. So if you really want that extra support, it is a possibility. And if we click the Get Support button here, it will show us that we have to basically log in. So I would have to log in with my WordPress account and show them that I am a customer. All right, so in general, I would say that the better support does come from Shopify. However, WooCommerce, there are so many people out there willing to help you out, and you can actually sign up for a WordPress account for free. So up here, you can see that you can sign up for free, and that does provide you a certain level of customer support. So that is beneficial. And it's hard to kind of figure out which one is best, but I have to give the support round to Shopify. Nothing beats 24/7 access to an individual who will actually walk you through, the problem that you're having at that point. Now, the big question is, should you go with Shopify or should you go with WooCommerce? So I think you should go with Shopify if you appreciate a bit of a hands-off approach where you can just sign up and have an e-commerce store launched as a result of it. Also, if you don't want to have to deal with any of the setup yourself, Shopify really is a good situation where you basically pay a little bit of money per month to remove all of that work that goes into finding a host, a domain name, an SSL certificate. At the same time, you might also want a highly optimized solution that's in no way worse than what the competition has. So Shopify will provide that for you. I also like Shopify for those who want to have a reliable and fast responding support team. You really can't beat the support at Shopify, just in case you have any questions. Finally, if you pretty much don't care about any of the technical details of your e-commerce platform and you just want to install a theme, make it look beautiful, and just get it up and running, then Shopify really is a good choice for you. You don't have to worry about backups. You don't have to worry about much maintenance. It's really just getting the products you want to sell on there, and then you're good to go. But so yeah, those are the reasons I would consider Shopify. Let's also take a look at my main reasons for WooCommerce. Okay, so now we're on the WooCommerce page. I really like this area because it says very bluntly that it's made for developers. And now that's not entirely true. It is definitely made for developers, but beginners can learn all about WooCommerce and really spend not much time, maybe a week or to a month, figuring out the ins and outs of WordPress. There are plenty of online courses that will allow you to become an expert in WordPress and WooCommerce in a very short period of time. But I would go with WooCommerce if you want to be in full control of your e-commerce store. That means everything from the website files to the hosting to the theme that you buy. Everything is in your possession and you can take it and move it if you want. It might be a little bit more difficult to do that with Shopify since it's all kind of in Shopify's own infrastructure. Another reason to go with WooCommerce is if you want to have access to thousands of site designs and thousands of plugins that will enable you to extend the functionality of your store. Shopify does have lots of apps. However, it doesn't have nearly as many themes for you to design your website. So I give WooCommerce kind of the thumbs up on site design. I also like WooCommerce if you don't mind spending a couple of hours setting things up and you're not afraid to handle the tasks required on your own, or you've hired someone else to do these tasks for you. There is a little bit of a learning curve with WooCommerce and WordPress. You might have to complete backups yourself. You might have to secure your website. You're going to have to work on search engine optimization. There is a little bit more hands-on work to be done. But if you don't mind doing that, or if you're experienced, or you have someone on your team who is experienced, I think WooCommerce is a good bet. Also, this is kind of an optional thing. It depends on what type of site you're building. But you might go with WooCommerce if you have only a minimum, like a small budget to start with, and you want to do everything on your own. If you still plan on hiring a designer, then it's going to end up being expensive anyway. If you're going to get super expensive hosting, it's probably not super expensive, but if you pay $30 for your hosting, then it's going to end up being the same amount as Shopify. However, if you go with cheap hosting, if you get a free theme, and then you get the free WooCommerce plugin, you could really keep your costs very low if you know what you're doing and you know how to optimize your website. All right, well, that is my comparison of Shopify and WooCommerce. Obviously, both of them have plus sides and downsides, but overall, some people are going to be finding Shopify much easier than WooCommerce, and on the other hand, WooCommerce might be much better for other companies. If you have any questions, please let us know. But otherwise, thanks for watching our video.